Well, 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 what do we have here? Oh, it's another Green Bay Packers victory. Definitely music to my ears, especially since it happened in Music City, USA. Let's discuss the highs and lows from the game, share some great listener feedback, and preview next week's game against the Vikings. It's all on this edition of your Packers Fan Podcast.
Greetings, Packers faithful. I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and it feels great to be back home after my extended weekend in Nashville. Not only did I get to see the Packers handle the Tennessee Titans in beautiful fashion, I got a chance to do it with my wife and multiple listeners of the Packers Fan Podcast. If I met you in Nashville this weekend and this is your first time hearing the Packers Fan Podcast, I am so glad that you're here. And boy, did I meet a lot of Packers fans this weekend.
Fantastic. And me, I'm Wayne Henderson, and although I couldn't make it to the game in Nashville, I'm excited to hear more about the adventures here on this 301st edition of your Packers Fan Podcast. We have a lot of fun discussions ahead about that huge road win in Tennessee. Also, thanks again for your listener thoughts. You really brought it this week, let me tell you. Looking forward to sharing those with everybody.
And like I said, I was at the game. I'll have my firsthand highlights from the trip. So much to talk about. Then we'll preview next week's Sunday's epic game against the Vikings, which will include my keys to a Packers victory over the Purple Ones.
Good, because when we win that game, we'll be all alone in first place in our division. So I can't wait. But first, this terrible news just came out today as of recording. Packers and NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre revealed that he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I'm so sad for Brett and his family, as well as everyone suffering from Parkinson's, as well as those fighting against dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer, and unfortunately, I could go on and on. So hopefully that gets top-tier treatment and his family does well.
Oh, yeah, very, very unfortunate news. How can you not love Brett Favre? I mean, I know people will say, he's made some mistakes over the years, but would not wish this on anybody, even an enemy, much less somebody that I idolized for many years of my youth. So my heart goes out to him and his family, and hopefully it is not as difficult as it is for many people that are suffering from that awful, awful disease. But moving on to bigger and brighter things, let's talk about the leaders of the Packers-Titans game. First off, on the passing side, obviously Malik Willis picking things up right where he left off against the Colts. He had a passer rating of 120.9. He threw for 13 out of 19 for 202 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, 0 interceptions. On the rushing side of the ball, Wayne, would you believe that our number one rusher was Malik Willis? 6 carries for 73 yards, his longest being 29 yards. I did not expect that.
I didn't expect it till I saw it with my own eyes.
The receiving side was interesting because our leading receiver was Christian Watson. Even though he only had 2 catches, was for a total of 67 yards. So kudos to him. But that's just, again, testament to how much Willis is following in the footsteps of Love and Rodgers, of spreading that ball out to multiple people. We don't have that star person that is like just the one go-to. So I love that. And on defense, Isaiah McDuffie had 9 tackles, 6 of them all by himself. So really just a stout number of stats right there.
Unbelievable. And that's just the beginning of what's going to be happening this season. I love it. The opening drive on this game and some of the highlights. The opening offensive drive, we get the ball. Malik Willis starts at the 30-yard line, fires off a pass to Jaden Reed, a gain of 30-plus yards. It was looking like magic. A couple of plays later, it's the bomb to Christian Watson for a first and goal on the 6-yard line. Finished up with a quarterback keeper, Malik Willis, for a touchdown, and good old Narveson succeeding with the extra point. So we're up at 7-0 already. And I got to tell you, Scott, even though I wasn't at the game, I was feeling pretty good.
Oh, I was feeling great, man. I can't tell you how awesome it felt to be in that stadium. And again, I was way up there. Like, we were probably 4 rows from the back furthest row you could get in the stadium. But it was a great view. Still, like, right on the 50-yard line. But hearing the Go Pack Goes throughout the stadium, Granted, we were in pretty much a predominantly Packers section, but Go Pack Goes all the time was just a glorious, glorious thing to hear. The next drive, when the Packers were on the defensive side of the ball, we did let them complete a first down pass to around the 50-yard line as well. Defense didn't look like they were fully in the game at this point yet. We were kind of letting the Titans slowly and methodically march down the field, but Rashawn Gary did have a great sack. Unfortunately, it got overturned to a stupid penalty. Preston Smith lined up offsides, which then led them to getting a touchdown. So the game did wind up being tied after the first two series, 7-7, but then things got better and better from there.
Indeed. The very next drive, the Packers still weren't really able to get Josh Jacobs running, but had a nice 8-yard play by Reed, and then we took our first timeout. A timeout in the first quarter again. But we can't blame him because it worked out well. Malik Willis ran for about 20 more yards and a first down on the very next play. So all was forgotten about the boneheaded timeout timing.
Well, and then Willis ran again to get us a first down on the next play, this time all the way down to the Titans' 3-yard line. I thought he was going to run another one in there. I was getting really excited. Couldn't convert, unfortunately, but Braden Arvison snagged us a field goal, extending the lead from 7-7 to 10-7. So things were, again, looking great. The second offensive possession for the Titans ended up abruptly, and I wasn't here for this, Wayne. I decided, Titans got a ball. I'm going to run and get some barbecue, some hot chicken, and use a restroom break. So I was not there for the interception, but Jair Alexander, pick 6. Oh man, I wish I could have seen that live because it was watching the replay. It looked amazing. Just what a great awareness, and the game wound up being 17-7 at this point. So I was feeling really, really good at this point.
So let's just say while you're out on the concourse waiting in line to get your chicken, I bet the sound coming from the stadium told you a lot about what was happening out there on the field.
Oh, totally. Again, you could just hear the Go Pack Goes from the concourse, man. It was awesome. And dude, we got there a couple days before the game, so we got to spend some time in downtown Nashville, and the sea of Packers fans everywhere is just absolutely insane. I hardly saw any Titans fans. Obviously, if they're local, they're probably not going downtown. Packers fans everywhere. There was a one bar that was like 4 or 5 stories that was just dedicated to like a Packers pep rally, which we attended and got to hang out and talk to a bunch of people. It was just really, really great.
Fantastic. I love it when you're on the road and yet you're still basically at a home game for the most part. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Just in a little bit, I bet you were back in your seats by this, though. The highlight reel catch by Christian Watson for 32 yards. Mm-hmm. What a catch. And Narveson wrapped up the first half with a field goal to lead us into the locker room up 20-7. Things were looking pretty bright at this point.
They were. Titans got the ball on the opening drive of the second half. Devontae Wyatt gets a great sack on Tennessee. Quite a few sacks this game, by the way.
Yes.
Later on the Titans drive, they went for on 4th and short, and we blew one of our timeouts early in the third quarter. But Walker and McDuffie stuffed the Titans, so I guess it was kind of worth it. I'll trade a timeout for a stop. Let's go for it.
Yeah, if that's what it takes. In hindsight, it's all good. On the Packers' first possession in the second half, taking over where the Titans left it for us on the field, we start off with a penalty. Same old story. Yeah. Narveson missed a 44-yard field goal, but that's okay. A penalty turned it around and gave us a first down, so he didn't really miss. And shortly thereafter, Emmanuel Wilson rushes for his first ever NFL touchdown. The extra point was good, 27-7, Scott.
Yeah, things were sitting pretty there. It was a good feeling. Good. I was not expecting that much of a lead that early in the third quarter.
Not on the road indeed. And then in the fourth quarter, I myself, even at home, I could hear some extremely loud Go Pack Go chants coming from you and all your friends at the stadium. It came through loud and clear on TV.
Oh, man, there was a Titans player, like a former Titans player, whose name is escaping me, that actually came out on the field on a microphone to pump up the crowd. The Titans saying, like, we've got Go Pack Go, the Vikings have Skull, and everybody's got something. The Titans, I thought it was kind of cool. Their thing is Tighten Up. which is cool. And he was rallying up the crowd saying, let me hear that tighten up, everybody. And you couldn't hear any tighten up. All you heard was go Pack go. Packers just came in and took over that. So it was just kind of cool to see.
That's a shame.
Yeah. The dagger of the game, though, was Xavier McKinney with his third interception of the year already. Third, one for each game. He's got to be feeling pretty good. Oh, man, the interceptions, the turnovers the defense has been outstanding. So much fun to see. And we got to talk a little bit about good old number 90, Lucas Van Ness. In the first half, he had an amazing sack. However, he then got caught holding on the next play when we received a punt from the Titans. Then in the second half, Van Ness recovered the ball after we caused a strip sack fumble on Levis. So lots of good things happening for that dude. I just love that these highlights are not just about key players. There are fantastic highlights from players that we remember from years past, from new players, and from multiple players. It is the kind of Packers team that really succeeds in this league, is that one that is not just a Rodgers to an Adams, and that's like our entire game. You know, the Packers do the best when we are spreading the ball to multiple people and everybody is doing their part and getting in there and being a massive impact on every single play, and I love it. We do have some lowlights, but not too many. It looked like our defense was starting to wear down a bit in the third quarter. It was hot, Wayne. It was 94 degrees in the stadium.
Oh, boy.
That's pretty warm, especially when you're wearing a jersey, because you can't really wear a jersey without a shirt underneath it, as you know. So it was a little toasty. But the Titans' second drive in the second half ended with a Tennessee touchdown, making it 27-14. I started wondering, are we going to pull another like last week where it's going to come down to the wire, and are we going to be able to hold this lead? But thankfully, it did wind up in our favor in the end.
For sure. And in years past, I would have thought, oh, don't go into prevent defense. No prevent defense. But this time, I think they were just wearing down, like you said, from the heat and humidity and everything else. So all throughout the game, there were far too many stupid penalties. Maybe not as many flags as we saw week one, but frustrating nonetheless. So if we can have less penalties, we're going to be unstoppable.
It is so difficult to call BS on those penalties when you can't see them quite as well.
Oh, from the stands?
Yeah, it's like so I'm actually like texting my brother, was he really offsides? And my brother said, yeah, he was really offsides. So it's more of a frustration of like, we just need to tighten up those fundamental football deals to keep those penalties from happening, because they didn't kill us this time, but they definitely could in the future. So we really got to make sure those penalties are figured out.
Yeah, imagine what the score would have been without all those penalties.
Yeah, right?
Inconceivable. Okay, let's check in with our weekly poll question. We post that on Twitter/X. You can find us at Packers Fan Pod. We also have the poll in our Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com. Join it. Super easy. There's 3 simple questions, so we know you're not some undercover agent trying to infiltrate and leak out secrets to the Vikings and the Bears and the Lions. That's at PackersCommunity.com. So the question this week, although Malik Willis is doing well, do you think Jordan Love will be back? Will he be back next week to face the Vikings? And the choices were yes, for sure he's back next week, or probably, or maybe not just yet. What do you think, Scott? How you feeling?
He will be for sure. I think it's a mistake. I think that Willis is doing well enough that we could kind of have him on reserve just in case he, loses that luster. But I think that the Packers coaching staff is going to think that this game is way too important to put in his hands, and they want Love to do his thing. So I will say, yeah, he's going to be playing this game. And the more reports I hear, it sounds like it's gonna be that way. But I was thinking that even before the reports came out. How about you?
Okay, I'm going to go with probably he's going to be back, because injuries like this, they're so finicky, and who knows that maybe Friday or Saturday word's going to come out that they're just going to save him just in case. But a lot of votes came in, almost 100 votes when you combine Twitter and Facebook. And when you average it out, 62% are right there with you, Scott. Yes, we're going to see Jordan Love play on Sunday for sure. 34% said probably, and surprisingly, only 4% said, nah, not just yet.
I think that might be wishful thinking, but we'll have to see. We did have some comments on the poll in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook group. Brett Connor says, I think he will. However, there's no need to rush him back. Malik Willis is doing the job so far. And I agree.
That's for sure. And Dan Dyler said for the comments, from all the reports that have been released, I think J. Love will be back. However, from what I've seen so far from Malik, if J. Love needs more time to heal and prepare for the long term, he has proven he is worthy to bring home the W's.
I like it. Remember, to be part of the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversations, you can find that at packerscommunity.com. Check out all the fun, especially our live game chat section. Sorry, I was not present there this week. I was kind of enjoying the game. And speaking of, check out the community. I posted, and so did Dan Dyler, and so did Mike, and so did all these people that I got to see there. Tons of great photos from Nashville, as well as the game. Got to take a picture of the stadium from the pep rally. I saw the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. I saw a trailer of partiers being pulled by an actual tractor on the main strip of Nashville. That was pretty cool to see. So many great things to see over there, and some pretty embarrassing videos of me after. I didn't post these just because they're that embarrassing, but Wayne has seen them, and he can testify that I did some pretty silly things after a couple of beers.
Well, without divulging any secrets, let's just say that in February, after we win the Super Bowl, one of those needs to be recreated. That's all I'm going to say.
Maybe that'll be our wager of fun. I would just release the tape if I lose.
Oh, well, you better be getting ready to release it. Also in the group, Dictus shared a video clip from Cheesehead TV where they were interviewing Captain Pack Sparrow, and it's kind of an origin story for Dan Dyler's alter ego, and that was fun. So check all those things out. And let's get into the listener feedback because there's a lot, and it is spectacular. Packers fans, we want you to let your voice be heard and be part of upcoming episodes of the show. Record your voice on your phone or computer. Email the recording to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com or simply by calling the Packers Fan Podcast voicemail at +1 920 3-PACK-GO.
In addition to your thoughts about the Vikings and Packers game, we also would love to hear your Wager O Fun score predictions for the Week 5 matchup when the Packers head to L.A. to face the Rams. The deadline for your calls will be Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time, so please make sure to get those in. What is our first call, Wayne? I am really intrigued to see who called in, because I talked to a lot of people about PFP.
Yeah, you were spreading the love, and I appreciate it. That is good stuff. First off, we have mystery caller who called in at halftime.
God, me and you are hanging out right now at Titans game. Go Pack Go, 27. Come on now, baby. What do we got second half? I want you to talk about the second half. All right, bye.
Thank you, Mr. Caller. I'm sorry I don't remember your name. I talked to so many people sitting right behind me, but it was great to meet you. It was great to meet everybody. I think I remember you because I think I gave you the number and you said, I'm going to call it right now. And he turned around and I saw him actually calling the number. So he wants me to talk about the second half. Let's see. The third quarter, I started to get a little nervous. Thought that the defense might have been getting a little bit gassed and getting a little nervous, but thankfully our secondary really picked up and got that dagger of an interception. So really sealed the deal. Thanks so much for the call, man. Great to hear from you. Hope to hear from you again in the future.
I have to call. The game ended 25 seconds ago, if that. Okay, can I get a Go Pack Go from everybody? Because that was amazing. This is Megan, if you can't tell. Okay, so, oh my gosh. That was just really fun to watch. Really, really fun. The main point I have to make is I just love how this team is a team. Like, the actual definition of a team. All sides of the ball, for one, on the field. But, like, off the field, they have each other's backs. I feel like, you know, one guy blocks for another. They celebrate each other's victories, big and small. I feel like the way they mesh and the way they care about each other as people and players makes up a huge part of the foundation of a successful team, which is what we have. And to be honest, I feel like it has a lot to do with the individuals themselves, but like, we got to give so much credit to the coaching and the culture, and it's just really fun to watch. And they have the sky as the limit because they're so young and they just mesh really well together. So first drive, obviously, amazing way to start the game. Are you serious? I just like screamed when Malik ran the ball, and I thought that was so cool. Like, first drive, amazing, but just like in Tennessee, it's just freaking awesome. It was great. He had some really good long throws during that drive and later in the game as well. He's trying to be a starter. I swear. Also, I thought that Malik was a quarterback, but I feel like during the first quarter, I was questioning whether or not he was a running back because that man can run the ball. And that was really fun to watch. I swear, I kid you not, I had just said, come on, Jair, to like pick that ball. And then he did. And then he ran it back. And it was so beautiful. I knew I wore his jersey for a reason today. Our defense in general, like they were a little sluggish in the first quarter, I would say. But okay, Will Levis is going to be so sore tomorrow. 7 sacks? Like, I hope he has some Epsom salts and a really long bathtub if he's tall, because he is going to be sore. I feel like our defense just brought it throughout the game, but like really on third down, like in critical moments, I felt like the Titans offense was like kind of getting on a roll in the third quarter. And then our defense was just like, nope, not happening. Just not going to happen. And it was great. And like every guy played a role, which was awesome. Let's see, what else? My neighbors hate me for all the screaming. It's great that I don't think anyone lives below me, but if they do, they hate me too. What else do I have to say? We got some penalties still to work on, I do feel like. Rasheed Walker has had quite a few, like this game, but then like this year. But maybe like the benefit outweighs the cost. I don't know. I'm not a coach. I'm just here to back the green and gold until I'm dead and cold. This is freaking awesome. I'm a little bit nervous for next week. So as everybody knows, I unfortunately live in Minnesota. And a Vikings fan said to me something about like Packers fans should be nervous for our defense next week. And I'm like, okay, but like I'm not, because I have so much faith in our offense and we have a good defense. Hello. Like, what were their stats today? Like 7 sacks, a fumble recovery or 2, a couple picks, a pick 6. I mean, I could keep going, but I won't because I'm going to take the high road because I'm a Packer fan. I'm just kidding. Forgot Minnesota at home. I'm like nervous but excited, but it's going to be a good game. Aaron Jones will be back. Jordan Love will probably be back too. I hope there's no like rust. I don't believe there will be. It's only been a couple weeks and he's still practicing this week. It'll be good to have him back, but to be honest, it'll be kind of sad to have Malik not play. Can we just play them both? Obviously last week we ran all over the place. And then this week we're facing like a better rush defense and they probably were on to what we were going to potentially do. And like we just adapted and like, obviously, there was more confidence and faith in Malik to be able to throw the ball. And he had a couple dimes to Watson, one to Romeo, and stuff like that. But then, like, the short, like, jet sweep passes and stuff like that, those worked out really well for us today. And I just really like how if one thing doesn't work, we're not just, like, trying, which I feel like in the past sometimes we have. Keeping on pushing the thing that's not working. Like, the run just wasn't really efficient today unless it was like Malik running it, but I feel like that was just throwing the other team off and that's why it was working. And I mean, he's good, but you know, like Josh Jacobs didn't have the game that he had last week, but it's just overall like well-rounded. Yeah, I'm so happy to be a Packer fan. Thank you for the podcast. Oh, and Dan and Scott, hello. I could hear you screaming in Minnesota. I swear, on the TV. Go Pack, go green and gold till I'm dead and cold. Let's freaking go!
Let's go indeed. Jair jersey wearing Megan sending it in to feedback at PackersFanPodcast.com. And her neighbors may hate her for yelling so loudly because she lives in enemy territory. But, you know, that's okay. Right, Scott?
Absolutely, man. It's just 3 hours out of a week. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's not like, you know, she's up at 2 a.m. watching the game anyway. So good. And yeah, I think the foundation to the Packers winning so well, it really is a team. There's, like Scott, you talked about earlier, there's in no way to really pick out just one or two players. Everybody is doing a great job. The punting is great. The extra points and field goals are pretty great. You know, one was missed, but I think it got overturned. And then offense and defense and coaching and everything. So bring on the Vikings, right?
Yeah, and I mean, her friends up there that are Vikings fans are right. They've got a stout defense that we should be prepared for, but nervous isn't the word I'm going to use when I'm talking about being prepared for Minnesota. I think they need to be ready. They need to be prepared and expect what's going to come to them, not quiver in fear.
I like the question that Megan posed. Maybe we can keep playing Malik and Jordan Love.
You know, honestly, I've been following football for the majority of my life. I don't know how that works because I know in baseball, if you retire a pitcher in the middle of a game, you can't bring him back, right? That's a rule. Can you just go back and forth with a quarterback with all you want?
Or maybe do some of those trick plays like the Saints do when they bring it, they set their star quarterback over, they bring in the other guy, they run some trick wildcat play, and then they go back.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I want to see Jordan Love hand the ball off to Malik Willis from the backfield and just let him run the ball and see what happens. Can we do that?
Probably a touchdown is what I'm kind of thinking. Let's see who else gave us a call at +1 920 3-Pack Go.
Hello, fellas. This is Mark from New Lisbon, diehard Packer fan for over 50 years, believe it or not. So first of all, congratulations, Scott and Wayne, on your 300th podcast this week. That is tremendous. Hopefully 300 more to come and a couple of Super Bowl podcasts to boot. I got to start with Matt LaFleur. It was just a masterclass today, the game against Tennessee. A masterclass in quarterback coaching. He just coached Malik up and play calling. And I've said this before, Matt LaFleur is a quarterback whisperer. He could take any quarterback in the NFL and make them better. Malik Willis is Packer people. He's a hard worker. He's a high character guy. The more you read about the guy, the more you love him. He also happens to be 2-0 as a starter, so I'm really happy for him. He's a really good fit with the Packers. Kudos to the entire coaching staff. I think we also have to credit Tom Clements. He's the quarterback's coach, and he has to get an assist in how well Malik Willis is playing and just getting him ready to play. Flowers also have to go to Devontae Wyatt. Wow. His stat line included, I think, 3 quarterback hits, 3 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses, and a partridge in a pear tree. He was outstanding today. Jair with his pick 6 was a backbreaker for Tennessee early. Maybe my favorite play of the year so far. So many positives with this team. And after losing in Brazil and losing Jordan Love, the resiliency that Green Bay has showed is very impressive. And coming back to win 2 games is something special. And I think there is something special about this team. Finally, I know I'm over 2 minutes, but I'm flying to California Wednesday with my buddy Joe, and we're going to go to the Badger game on Saturday at the Coliseum. And then we're sticking around for the Packer game at SoFi on Sunday. We cannot wait for that. Thanks for taking my call, Scott and Wayne. Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go indeed. Mark, thank you so much for the call. I love how he feels the need to introduce himself to us. We know who you are, Mark. I know who you are. Thanks so much for the call. I love the idea of the quarterback whisperer. That's great. And thanks for the congrats on the 300th episode. Although I haven't been here for all 300 of them, it has been a delight, and I'm so glad that Wayne asked me to come join this team. It's been a lot of fun.
And I love the idea of having a couple of Super Bowl editions. Like if the Packers head down to New Orleans this year for the Super Bowl, things like that. It's going to be fantastic. And
is it in New Orleans?
I think it's in New Orleans again.
That's where we won last time, or not last time,
but time, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that would be amazing. Bring that exact same design of hat.
No, please.
I love that hat, dude.
Oh, no.
I love it.
And Mark heading out to California with his buddy all in one weekend to see the Badgers in California and to see the Packers in California. That is fantastic. And I know you're not getting out of the cold in the snow, but have a great time. I was looking at going to the game at SoFi to see the Packers play the Rams, but to get decent seats at a decent price is impossible. Just the whole market here. It's like for the seats I was looking at, way up pretty high, not all the way high, but close to like the 40-yard line or so, were like 800 and something bucks a piece and $120 to park. And I was like, I'm just going to have to miss it. I could invest that money in airfare to go see a game at Lambeau Field. But anyway, you have a great time,
It's worth
Mark.
the experience, man.
I know.
It's worth the experience.
I know.
Wayne Scott, Art from Texas. Good to be back for another year. I know I'm calling in a couple of weeks late. Been kind of tough to catch games over here where I'm at, mostly because of my work schedule. And then I have to find streaming apps and stuff. Well, anyways, my buddies over here are murmuring quarterback controversy, but I'm shutting them down. They're just being controversy mongers. But I ain't gonna lie, Malik Willis is looking really, really good. He's stepping up solid while Love is out. Hopefully they won't be rushing Love to get back on the field too soon. But I understand the big matchup coming up. Hopefully the Pack can pull it off and continue their hot streak with Malik. And Jordan can return fully healthy and continue. Hopefully we can keep the streak going. I can't really comment on the game too much because, like I said, I've been watching highlights here and there because I haven't had a chance to watch a full game. But go Pack, gold, green and gold till I'm dead and cold. Quick question for you guys: if situation here, if Aaron Jones scores a touchdown and tries to do a Lambeau leap, and you're the fan, the Green Bay fan that he's jumping towards, what do you do? Do you push him off or do you embrace him and appreciate him? Just a thought there. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go Art. Thank you so much for giving us a call from Texas. And I know for this first part of the season, other than maybe the Brazil game, which of course here in the States was only available on, what was it, Peacock? I forgot already. And then the other games haven't been shown regionally. They're at least here in California, they're showing Rams and Chargers. So in Texas, they're probably showing Texans and Cowboys and stuff. So that's going to change pretty soon because we got a streak of a bunch of primetime games coming up. So yeah, I'm sorry your friends are controversy mongers. Thank you for shutting them down. Love is definitely the guy. But I love the question that you pose at the end. If you're like in that first row in one of the end zones at Lambeau Field and Aaron Jones wearing a Vikings jersey scores a touchdown at Lambeau and tries to Lambeau leap, do you embrace him or do you push him off? Start with you, Scott.
I love this question. I genuinely do, and I hadn't even considered this until he mentioned this. I am not a guy that holds ill will towards someone that makes a decision that might be in his own best interest. Obviously, I think a team effort is important too, but you got to look out for yourself as well. I hold no ill will towards Aaron Jones, and I think if I were in the stands, I would 100% embrace him. And if I got that lucky, I'd be like, "We miss you, bro, but nice job." It's different when it's just a team that is coming in there and doing it to mock. But I think if Packers fans are what they say they are, they're going to do the same thing. Slap them on the helmet, say good job. They're not going to be as excited about it, but that's me. I would totally. How about you?
I feel the same exact way, and you said it better than I could. Since he did so many great things for the Packers, granted, we don't like that he's a Viking, but I would embrace him. Now, if it was one of the other players who's not been a Packer and is just some Viking that's doing it to, like you said, kind of mock everything, no, I'm pushing that guy off, especially if he's wearing purple or Bears, Lions, or Niners jerseys for sure. So that was a great question. Yeah. Thank you very much, Art. Let's head back and see who might have sent us a message to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com.
Hey guys, it's Jay Walters from SoCal. Boy, love the fast starts. 2 weeks in a row now, 17 points in the first quarter again. Man, just didn't expect that. Willis running in his first touchdown and having several good runs to the day. Reed and Watson having great catches. I'm surprised Watson getting banged around like that isn't hurt already. That's encouraging. Then on defense, forcing fumbles, Jari with the pick 6, McKinney with another pick, and 8 sacks. Now that's what a championship defense looks like. And Emmanuel Wilson taking advantage. Man, he just keeps getting better. And the nice thing is no missed field goals. Well, all we got to do now is clean up those penalties. Way too many penalties, especially going into the Vikings game. We can't be having penalties like that. The surprising thing is, are the Vikings good, or are they just playing teams that we thought were good? We'll see. And I'm not as concerned that Love be at 100% now with Willis playing so well, but it's certainly going to be a great game. All right, as always, go Pack go.
Go Pack go indeed. Thanks so much for the call, Jay. I didn't even realize I should have had that in my stats, but 8 sacks is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, you're right. If we can just clean up those penalties, I think we have a champion team on our hands, guys. I know it's only been 3 weeks, but if this momentum can keep going and they can just, oh man, the excitement is palpable. Yeah, it feels really awesome. It really makes me wonder, like, how it would feel right now if we had pulled off that game against Philadelphia. Like, just that is just it's just killing me so much. Like, it would just be so helpful to have that win, and we came so close to having a shot there. But yeah, I'm so excited about the future of this team. When we started recording, I was like, what's going to happen? There's so many questions. We're coming out of the Rodgers era with a new quarterback, and sure, he played last year, but things are really starting to roll. Am I getting too excited? And I feel like I wasn't. I got just the right amount of excitement, and I'm feeling like Wayne with how positive I am about the Packers right now.
I'm loving this, Scott.
Yeah, I know. It's really excited. So Jay, thanks so much for the call, man.
Go, 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 Pack, go! Wow, what an awesome weekend in Nashville, Tennessee. Hearing those Go Pack Goes everywhere we went. It was unreal. I've never had that kind of experience before. Walking out of there with the first win ever at Nissan Stadium, and likely the last game because they're building a new stadium. How about that defense? Jaire Alexander with his very first pick 6 of his career, 8 sacks. Xavier McKinney with his 3rd consecutive interception in as many weeks. Why didn't we fire Joe Barry eons ago? This Jeff Hafley and his defense is absolutely killing it. And I cannot say enough about number 2. No, not Mason Crosby. Obviously, I'm talking about Malik Willis, who now owns the 2nd best quarterback rating in the league after getting to Green Bay less than a month ago. Wow. He's got a 120.9 quarterback rating and no interceptions. He's done everything that he was supposed to do. And it boggles my mind that as of Sunday of the game, he'd only been with the team for 27 days. I'll tell you what, if Matt LaFleur does not get Coach of the Year this year, that'll be a travesty. I mean, on the very first drive, that long pass to Reed, the long one to Watts, and then he calls his own number for the touchdown after only being in Green Bay for 27 days. It's insanity. Like, really the only thing I saw bad in the entire game were the same things that we saw the first 2 weeks that we've watching our team. The penalties, 10 penalties. That's well, I guess the only other thing I could say negative other than the penalties was that heat, that good god awful heat. I think I saw that it was 90 degrees. I think it was actually hotter than that, especially dressed up as Captain Pack Sparrow. Just in a short little aside, I got back to our hotel room and took off all my gear and hung up my shirt on the back of a chair. In the morning when I got ready to pack to leave, that thing was still damp. And like I said, running around Nashville those few days, and you couldn't walk 10 feet without someone giving you a high five or a fist bump with a Go Pack Go, all the Packer gear. They ran into a buzzsaw. They didn't have any idea what was going on. At the Packers Everywhere pep rally, this bar is about, I think it's 5 floors, plus it has a rooftop bar. They ran out of Coors Light and Miller Lite. They had no idea. And of course, meeting up with other PFP listeners, and of course Scott and his wife Steph, Alex Bartman, David Newman. Oh my God, it was so much fun hanging out with you guys. I hope we can do it again sometime soon, because that, honestly, all that was like the best part of the entire trip. The win was just a cherry on top. Also got to, shake hands and get a picture or a video with Mark Murphy, Scott Wells, and Chad Clifton at the pep rally. And just hanging out with my other friends that flew in from the East Coast. Just a totally fun weekend. And I tell you, it definitely took its toll. And I was glad to get home yesterday evening, and I slept quite well. That's all I got to say from here. Next up, we got the Devil's Incarnation, the Purple People Eaters. I don't want to talk about it, especially since they're 3-0 and leading the division. But you know what? They're coming to our house, and we are not going to let them go without an L in that column. Go, 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 Pack, go! Oh, yeah, and one more side note. Broadway Brew House. Got to go there, get the brisket quesadilla. Scott talked about it on last week's show. It is fire. Got to go there, got to get it. Awesome.
Awesome as well. Dan, thank you so much for sending that in. Great to hear from you. Great to hear that you had such a fabulous time. And yes, brisket quesadillas, Scott. The word is spreading.
Yeah, I don't know how much more I can talk possibly about it. My wife and I had it twice. Once when we first got there, and then we went again the night before the game. It is so good. It's so good and simple. It's not like a whole bunch of stuff on it. It's just this brisket quesadilla that is so tender, falls apart in your mouth, and cheese. And then you dip it in some sour cream, and it is delicious. I got to figure out what the secret is to that brisket, because that would be so easy to make if I could just get the brisket down. But yes, it is that good. Wayne, if you ever go, you have to get you some brisket quesadilla.
Oh, I will not forget to make sure that happens if I go. So, Dan, thank you so much for calling in with your thoughts about the adventure. Fantastic to hear from you. And we got one more voicemail that came in. Oh, it looks like it's from a Wisconsin phone number.
Hey, guys. Alex from Wisconsin calling in. Got the pleasure to meet Scott. Hung out with Dave for the weekend in Nashville. What a great game. Obviously, some things yet to clean up for the boys. Obviously, penalties being one of them. But, man, it's been fun to watch Malik Willis go to work here on abbreviated, going 2-0 and bringing the stinky Vikings to town next week. Pretty excited. Hopefully Jordan can be cleared to play, but overall very impressed with these last 2 weeks, and I think we got something special brewing, especially with that defense. So keep the gas down and hopefully come out with another win after this weekend hosting Minnesota. Go Pack, go, baby.
Go Pack, go indeed, Alex. It was awesome to hang out with you. Alex is a listener of the show and friend of David Newman, who I also got to hang out with. It was really great to see him. It's only the second time I've seen Dan in person, but we had an absolute blast. So much fun hanging out. Even just like walking to the stadium, because we were walking to the stadium carrying a couple of beers with us.
Oh my!
Trying finishing them before we go into the stadium. Before it was like $12 beer night at. I don't even remember the price of them, but a lot of fun to watch, and I love how he says we got something special brewing, because I think it's already half brewed, man. Like we've got something special. But yeah, defense is just looking fantastic. My friends that had Green Bay on their fantasy teams were texting me and thanking me like I had something to do with it. So
you did.
It was so much fun. Great to hear from you, Alex. Again, nice to meet you in person finally.
Good stuff. Also got a couple of emails. James from Montana says, "Go Pack, go." The defense is really playing great. Hafley has them hungry for turnovers, and it's just remarkable how many turnovers we've gotten in such a little amount of time. Hope this trend continues going upwards. And he isn't afraid to blitz. It's extremely satisfying to see them get to the quarterback on third downs. And Malik Willis may just be the perfect quarterback to back up Jordan Love. He seems so humble. The players seem to love him as well. And Malik mentioned about not caring too much about the quote-unquote revenge game against the team that got rid of him. But Christian Watson was talking with the other players about how they wanted to win it for him. And after the game, Malik was asked for his first thoughts after running off the field, and his answer was to try to find a kid to give his towel to. Just love hearing about stuff like that. Matt LaFleur needs to be coach of the year. It's long overdue. And on to the Vikings. They are extra cocky this year since they started 3-0. Time to remind them who the Kings of the North are. Looking like Jordan Love will make his return. I can't wait. Love the podcast. Go, Pack, go. Thank you, James from Montana.
Also, we got another one. Hello, Wayne and Scott. This is Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher from Green Bay, Wisconsin. What a great game for Malik Williams. 13 of 19 for two touchdowns. If Jordan Love isn't careful, he could lose his starting position as quarterback. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Pump the brakes there a little bit, man. They paid a lot of money for Jordan Love, but I like the mentality. He goes on to say, and we're so happy to see our defense finally showing up with 7 sacks and 2 takeaways. We're hoping we can have a huge game against the Minnesota Vikings. Well, until next time, Packers family, this is CCR saying go, Pack, go. Bleed green and gold till dead and cold.
Indeed. And now let's preview the game because your 2-1 Green Bay Packers are back at Lambeau Field hosting the 3-0 Minnesota Vikings Sunday, September 9th at 12 noon Central Time. Packers lead the series 66 wins to 58 losses and 3 ties going back to October 22nd, 1961, which was a Packers victory 33-7. Interesting that in 1978 and 1979, back-to-back, the Packers and Vikings went into back-to-back overtime games. That does not happen very often. We don't necessarily need it to happen this coming week. One of those overtime games ended in a tie, and the other one, well, we had less points than the Vikings. And a very interesting stat from Wikipedia, although the Packers have won over 75% of their games against the Bears and Lions since the beginning of the Brett Favre season in 1992, the Packers have only won just a little more than 50% of their games against the Vikings. In other words, let's be sure to win this coming Sunday. Maybe we need another he did what moment to happen.
Oh, that's a great moment. That's awesome.
And although some Packers players have gone to the Lions and some have gone to the Bears, the list of some of the notable players that have gone to and from the Packers to the Vikings or vice versa, there's been over 20, but the most notable ones, Gilbert Brown, Jan Stenerud, Ryan Longwell, Bobby Tunyon, Aaron Jones, and, of course, Brett Favre.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how many players have switched between there, but let's stop that right now. Can we please stop that?
Yeah, we'll finish it off with Aaron Jones and move on from there. Now, this coming Sunday at Lambeau Field, it's still going to be relatively warm for this time of year. Mostly sunny, 77 degrees Fahrenheit at kickoff, which is about 25 degrees Celsius. So you're not going to need too much coffee, no bundling, just go Pack goes. So
absolutely,
let's get to what's most important. What do the Packers need to do to beat the Vikings? What are the keys to victory, Scott?
All right, my first key is to prepare for a defensive fight. Sam Darnold isn't the only one on a hot streak in Minnesota. The defense allowed an average of only 10 points over their last 3 games, and the only game where they allowed over 10 points was when San Francisco put up 17. This is a stout D that is a force to be reckoned with. Green Bay may be the best running offense so far, and that is true, by the way. They are the number 1 rushing offense in the league right now. But the Vikings have the number 3 run defense, so it's not going to be as easy to get through that line as it was in past games. Don't expect to walk all over this team. You're going to have to plow through them. Number 2, know that Minnesota has Willis's number. I already mentioned that I believe that Love will be playing this week, but just in case, the Pack should understand that Willis isn't as unknown as he was 3 weeks ago. Sure, he has less than stellar stats when he played for Tennessee, but the Vikings will be ready for him, especially when it comes to Willis or Love for that matter, scrambling when there's no open receivers. Keep your options open and protect the ball at all costs, regardless of who is taking snaps. And number 3, don't forget the air battle. Everyone is expecting this to be a running matchup, and there's a lot of truth to that with this game. I think Minnesota will be expecting a run-heavy game from the Packers, which makes it a perfect opportunity to capitalize on what they don't expect and what we've been known to do in past seasons, go through the air. I think that element of surprise is the way to go for this game. And let's not forget that secondary on the defensive side of the ball. Darnold and Jefferson are hot, so that double coverage is going to be vital. Those opportunities for turnovers are going to be the key to keep the score in the favor of the green and gold.
Excellent, Scott. Thanks for those keys. I am amped up for Sunday's game because this is going to be huge. And yes, I think we could win in a lot of different ways. Excellent keys, especially know that they have a stout defense and they have Willis's number. We do need to surprise them. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Moving on to our 2024 season Wager O Fun. Last week, here were the predictions for Wayne and myself. I guessed that Green Bay was going to win 17-16. Wayne guessed 20-17 in favor of green and gold. The actual score was Green Bay 30 and Nashville 14, which unfortunately means that Wayne gets another W this week because my differential was 15. His differential was only 13. So things are not looking up for Scott. But we still got to play that game of Madden from last season when I won. So we do have to do that. As far as the PFP listener section, the number one scorer for this one was Mr. David Newman, who guessed a score of 28-13. And if you're pulling out your calculators, that is a differential of only 3 points.
Wow,
so
David.
Nice job, David. Very, very close. So here are the standings for our Packer Fan Wager of Fun this week. Currently, Wayne is in the lead with 2 wins to my 0. I have not picked a game accurately, but that's going to change, guys. And for the listeners, Brett, Connor, and David Newman are both tied, each with 1 win apiece. That brings us to this week's score. I'm going to kick things off, Wayne.
Okay.
I know everybody is thinking, I think the line is like 43.5 points or something like that. That's pretty high, which is interesting that my score is actually higher than that. I think it'll actually be lower than this, but I went ahead and picked Green Bay 27, Minnesota 24. I think that's just my MO, is I just have Green Bay winning by 3 in all of these matchups. I don't even mean to do that. That's just what I'm feeling. But I think it's going to be, I think it might even be a little bit lower than that because there's going to be so much focus on the run game, even though I think there shouldn't be. What do you say, sir?
Okay. Well, I'm kind of the same way as far as I pick us to win by 3, but I don't mean to necessarily. But this week I could see it. I'm saying the Packers are going to win 30-27, but I would not be surprised if the Packers don't pop a cork and just score like 38 points or more in this game. But we are going to win by at least 3.
All right. As for the listeners, here's the ones we've got so far. Garrett Stritzel says Green Bay 31, Minnesota 24. David Newman, who apparently we all should be following very closely, says Green Bay 38, Minnesota 30. I hope you are right, sir. I hope you're right. Jay Walter says Green Bay 35, Minnesota 31.
Oh, my. And Brett Connor, who also is tied with David Newman, he says this is going to be a tough game. Might be a game we lose. However, I'm picking Packers 27, Vikings 24. And Joe Christensen says love will be rusty, mistakes will be made, defense will need to be strong. We'll win by a field goal. Yep. Packers 24, Vikings 21. So we'll see how that all comes together. The NFC North, Vikings 3-0, Packers 2-1, Lions 2-1, and the Bears. Oh my, look at this. They're 1-2. That's a shame.
You did it again, man. You did it again. You put the Packers in second place.
I've seen infographics that show us in second place. So I did it boldly this week. Did you want me to list them below the Bears?
No. I wanted you to. No, I listed them correctly. You read them incorrectly. Is what you said Packers and then Lions. But anyway, I just love to give you a hard time about that. It's like you refuse to do it. If they're tied, they're clearly ahead. But no, that's not how it works. But anyway, Some other cool NFL happenings that caught our eye this week. The Cowboys looked like they were going to pull out a win against the Ravens. I actually was watching this game live after I got back to my Airbnb. They were down 28-6, but rallied towards the end thanks to an onside kick recovery. It was getting really excited. They brought it within 3 towards the final minutes, but were unfortunately unable to keep Baltimore from getting first downs, and time just ran out for them. You know I don't have a whole lot of love for the Cowboys, but they definitely get an A for effort for me on this one. That was a fun second half of football to watch.
And happening at about the same exact time on another network, also getting an A for effort from me is the Rams beating the Niners. Yeah, I know I'd begrudgingly root for anybody against the Niners, but LA looked toast early on, and they still didn't seem to stand a chance when it was midway through the fourth quarter. But Matthew Stafford led the depleted Rams to a comeback victory, outscoring San Francisco 20-3 in the final 19 minutes to win 27-24.
Amazing. You got to love that for multiple reasons, but one big one.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody else about my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider. If you love video games, please check it out. We have a new episode out this Thursday where we're going to be talking about special edition video game consoles. This topic was inspired by Sony's latest version of the PS5 that they unveiled, which has a very retro look, and it's very reminiscent of the original PlayStation from the late 90s. You can hear my show at the same places you listen to this one, or you can find our website at thegamingoutsider.com. And also, if you happen to be in the Rockford, Illinois area, the weekend of October 12th and 13th, please consider coming to our video game convention. We call it the Rock River Valley Video Game Convention, or R2V2 for short. It is going to be so much fun. I don't know if I told you about the VR game, Wayne. Did I tell you about the catastrophic inversion that we've got at this convention?
I don't recall the name, but I think you did talk about the technology. But this sounds cool, and catastrophic inversion sounds like the name of my next punk band. But
Yeah. It's awesome. It's not empty, but it is a 2,000-foot square room with 6 people wearing virtual reality headsets playing capture the flag laser tag, but you're not standing in place, you're running around the room, and it's just so much fun. It was an absolute joy to play, and people can come check that out. If you'd like more details on that or on the convention itself, head over to thegamingoutsider.com/R2V2. Thanks again for using Patreon to help support the PFP. If you'd like to financially support the show through Patreon, check out the details at PackersFanPodcast.com/giveback. Go Pack Go, and thank you to Jay Walters with your Bart Starr legendary level Patreon pledge. And supporting the Jordan Love $10 Go Pack Go, and thank you to Mr. Dan Dialer, or should I say Captain.
There you go. And the Brett Favre level patrons, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, Scott Bors, and Megan. Thanks, and Go Pack Go to you all as well. Also, our Curly Lambeau level supporters get their own Go Pack Goes and thank yous. Joe Christensen, Hank Davis from the TPE Network, and Brett Connor in the UK. If you're interested in joining in, all the details are at PackersFanPodcast.com/giveback.
Quick reminder, the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but if you get a chance, please tell a friend about the show. If you go to a game, ask me and I will give you a QR code that you can just show people and say, here, scan this, and go right to our podcast. I did a lot of that this weekend. If you're one of those people listening to the show because of that, you know it works. Please tell your friends about Packers Fan Podcast.
And that makes me smile. That really does. That's awesome. Follow us on X, also known as Twitter in Scott's land, at Packers Fan Pod. Follow Scott at GoCast Scott. Follow his Gaming Outsider podcast at The GoCast, and follow me at Wayne Henderson. And now it's our PFP Go Pack Go outro from community members Andre, Joe Christensen, Megan, and Dan Dialer to send us out ready to beat the purple ones.
Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go!